Good morning.
Cleared
We're
ILS runway 28
San
left approach
Francisco,
United 626 heavy.
departing for Arcata Airport, the Redwood Empire Airport, and that's just north of Eureka, where I flew the mail back in the late 60s. And we'll talk more about that on the way. You've heard it before, but I never got to fly this route in the Cessna Citation Longitude. So we're all plugged in, ready to go. Take the brakes off, full power. And we're going to go in behind the aircraft, right there. Get up to a little over 100 knots. There we go. And we get the gear up, and the flaps up, and the autopilot on. We have to go in here to turn how the autopilot came on. So we are off and running. And we can put the auto throttle on. Auto throttle is on. There we go. We say goodbye to them. Knowledge handoff.
119.475 Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie. Goodbye.
So we can look down over to Hunter's Point. I used to check in there with the mail. There's downtown San Francisco over there. And let's see, what are we climbing at? We're climbing at 200 knots. Climbing for 6,000 feet. We're going to go ahead and talk to the Oakland Center.
Oakland Center Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie is passing 3,200 feet, climbing 9,000 feet.
Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie, Oakland Center, altimeter 29.902 radar contact. Continue to Echo November, India.
Here's the old Candlestick Park, which is no longer there because this was from satellite photos back in 2000. Oh, 2020. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So we need to get a higher altitude. We're coming up on the Golden Gate Bridge here. Looking out to the Bay Bridge is right over there. And we see Alcatraz
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie, contact
and
Oakland
Angel
Center
Island.
on 127.8. Good day.
127.8 Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie. Goodbye. Oakland Center Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie is passing 6,700 feet, climbing 9,000 feet.
Downtown San Francisco.
527 Bravo Charlie, Oakland Center, altimeter 29.902 radar contact. Continue to Echo November, India.
Okay.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Oh, that's good. We're waiting for that.
Climb and maintain flight level 200 Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie.
200, and we're still climbing at 3,000 feet a minute. We'll go back outside. Again, we're right over the Golden Gate Bridge. That has been handcrafted. Then we're looking at Belvedere Island and Tiburon. And then on this side is Sausalito. Commodore is a seaplane base right there. Had a friend that took that. We're looking up to San Pablo Bay and Marin County, and right across here is the Richmond San Rafael Bridge. So we got the everything tidied up. Look out here toward Napa. Napa's up there, and the old Diablo, Mount Diablo is up above the tail. Sassoon Bay. And the Sacramento River is on up that way. Sacramento is about up in there. And where are we going? We're going up to 20,000. The auto throttle is working. Everything's on automatic. I'm gonna leave it like that, and we're now above 12,000, so they will keep increasing our speed. We'll drop down to 2,500, go inside and drop our climb speed to 2,500, so we'll keep our speed up. Yeah, 2,600, that ought to do it. And let's see how our speed is doing. Indicating 270. And we'll go here, and we can look over here. We're indicating 270, and we're truing out at 240 knots. We're looking down at right here is San Rafael. And we can look out to steep ravine, and over in here is I don't know what the green is. There's Point Reyes. Bolinas, I forget where Bolinas is. This is Inverness is right in here. I forget whether Bolinas is might be right up there, I think. And we go on up, and then we can see the Russian River will come out here from Santa Rosa, and just above that is Sea Ranch, development that was back in the 70s on the coast.
Oakland Center Delta 750 Heavy is passing 10,800 feet, climbing flight level 230.
I've sailed up the Petaluma
Delta
River.
750 Heavy, Oakland Center altimeter 29.9 radar contact
Sears Point is right over in here, right close to Sonoma. And then on over is Napa. Napa's right over here. St. Helena, Calistoga. Over that way, we come up here to Petaluma, a little airport right there, and then we're going to see Santa Rosa, Charles Schulz, Peanuts fame, Santa Rosa. Then we see Hillsburg and Ukiah.
Going to 132.2 United
and Cloverdale's in there too. So where are we? We're topped out at 20,000 feet. Now we're clocking along at 240 knots.
Center United 888 Heavy is passing flight level 1905, climbing flight level 310. United 888 Heavy, Oakland Center radar contact continue.
We're looking good, and of course I did this 6 nights a week. Carrying the mail and the de Havilland Dove. And the de Havilland Dove probably at best was doing 260 knots. No, 160 knots. The run was supposed to take an hour and a half, and it usually took about an hour and 45 minutes. But I could get off early, so I could get into San Francisco before 11 o'clock, which was when I was supposed to be there. And they'd release me early from Eureka, Arcata, and going back up, it wasn't as critical because nobody was in the post office. The guy was just picking up the mail at 3. It was supposed to be 3:30. I got it about 3:40, somewhere around there. Now, I don't know everything about jet. I've never flown a jet or a turboprop. Oh, here's the Russian River coming out. We'll look at that. Right here, the Russian River and Sea Ranch. We'll look down here. There's Charles Schulz and the Russian River comes down, and can't quite see where it goes across. Rio Nido, got a cough. I've been into a lot of the airports in Santa Rosa, or Charles Schulz is one of the airports I operated in and out of. Here's Oakland Center.
Oakland Center, Cessna 527 Bravo, Charlie, flight level 200.
Cessna 527 Bravo, Charlie, Oakland Center, radar contact. Continue to Echo November, India.
And Healdsburg, when I lived in Ukiah, I was up here, a job my dad got with a wholesale drug company. So that was the warehouse. We had like 23,000 items in the warehouse in South San Francisco, where we just departed from. Anyway, I'd call on the drugstores and drugs and sundries. Anything you find in a drugstore, we had in our warehouse. So there was a drugstore in Healdsburg. There were two in Ukiah, where I lived. And then I'd come down here. I'd go over to Calistoga and St. Helena, over there. Santa Rosa wasn't part of my territory, but Sebastopol, Rio Nido, along the Russian River, right down under us here, is the little towns along the river, and the Russian River likes to flood right along in there. Just a little bit south of there is Sebastopol, right there. Then looking out towards Sea Ranch, be over along in here. And then up north is Fort Bragg. I'd go over to Fort Bragg, and I'd also call on Mendocino over in there. And we go up from Cloverdale. This was a reservoir they put in the 60s, right there. It's Cloverdale. I worked for a wholesale lumber company out of Cloverdale. They call it a distribution yard. And at that point, we lived in the north end, right near the airport, Charles Schulz Airport, in Santa Rosa. So that was about a 20-minute drive up 101. 101 runs along here. Next we're going to see Ukiah. That's Clear Lake over there. Geyserville's along here. A lot of geysers in there. Clear Lake is a natural lake. It's not a reservoir, and it's one of the largest natural lakes. Now, Tahoe's natural and it's larger, but it's not wholly within California, so they don't. This is totally a California lake, whereas Tahoe is shared with Nevada. So we're doing fine here. We're going to proceed up to going by Cloverdale, and out of Cloverdale the road goes over probably through this little gap here to Boonville. Boonville has a little airport. There's a little drugstore in Boonville. I'd go up that way and then come out over by Mendocino. And so Boonville, you go over here. This is going to be Ukiah Airport right there. And we'll look back over toward Clear Lake. And then Konocti, this is a dormant volcano. I don't know when it last or thing, but there was a golf course in the harbor there called Konocti Harbor, and that was named after the Mount Konocti. And then Lower Lake and Upper Lake, they both had drugstores. So I'd call on those, go head around Clear Lake there. It would get hot. There's Boonville. There's a little air there. That's a little airport right there in Boonville. And the road from Cloverdale over to Mendocino goes right through there. Then here's Ukiah. I lived on the south end of Ukiah, right over on the right side there. A lot of lumber activities back in the time when I was there. I forget some of these little spots. Going over to get to the lake, I had to go north and then east to get over to Clear Lake, and you end up, the road didn't go direct to Clear Lake. You had to go up and around to get there. These hills along in here, I wouldn't call them mountains now, but these hills are maybe 2,500 feet, not real high, maybe 3,000 maximum. They get a little higher as you get up toward Eureka. And then we're going to be getting up here to the next town is after Willits. Willits is the next town, and so this is probably Willits right there. I go ahead and these little cheaters, these little pins, I call them. So I don't have to. I'm lazy, so I don't want to have to print out that this is Ukiah. I don't like to edit. Why this is a different color? It's probably because it's been handcrafted, possibly in that area. That's that I don't know. I believe I run in an airplane. Later on, after the mail run, I worked for Piper, and I tried to talk this little Cessna operation into being a Piper dealer. They didn't buy it, but I flew into there in a Piper Cherokee, a little trainer, which I was hoping they would buy to start training in the Piper. The Piper tended to be a little more money and a little more. It costs a little more to operate, so teaching people to fly, they had to watch their costs. They weren't making a lot of money. So Willits is coming up there, and then we're looking over toward Little River. Might be the airport is over just south of Mendocino. That might be Little River there. I don't know what that one is, but Fort Bragg is up there, and there's a little port there that's in off the ocean, and little area where you can get in to calm waters for the port, so they weren't subjected to the wave action from the ocean. And let's see, here's Willits coming up, and Willits is where they have the skunk train goes between Willits and Fort Bragg. So again, that's going to be that looks like the Little River Airport. Let's see if it'll come up. Let's see if we get it. Yeah, that's Little River there, and this may be where there's sort of a little peninsula that sticks out, and that may be Mendocino right there. Little town. People love that little town. I can't get the airport, but that is the Little River Airport. Then we'll look up to the north and see Fort Bragg. And I don't recall an airport in Fort Bragg, but I never got up there. But that's Fort Bragg. They used to have a mill right out on the ocean, and I forget the name of it. Okay, that's that. Then Shelter Cove will be on up here a little more. I could jump ahead, but looking down at all this, 101 continues north from Willits, and you can see it from time to time along these rivers. And we'll finally get into the South Fork of the Eel River. I forget what I used to I used to remember that that area right over there. See if we pick up any of these names. No, they don't want to pick up. I could look on my chart, but there. I never went over in there. Excuse me. And again, over a couple of ridges is the San Joaquin Valley and Redding, all the little towns over there, Corning, Chico, all the little towns going up to Redding. Those aren't it. It's on over a little further. And way over is going to be Mount Shasta. Okay, now we're getting up close to, this is going to be Garberville up there, and that's going to be Shelter Cove, which is another development. Sea Ranch was closer, easy drive, whereas there's Fort Bragg right there. Yeah. Right there. I pointed that out, of course. It has the little harbor there to the south where you can get your boats in off the ocean. A lot of fishing boats there. So now we're getting up to this should be the high point of the Eel River, the South Fork would come along here. Highway 101. That's a cut for Highway 101 going up there. Laytonville, this is going to be Laytonville right down here. Here's Laytonville. And let's see if that other one over in there comes up. They're not interested in identifying themselves. Again, I never went over there. So I do remember Laytonville. I don't need a pin. I don't need a pin for that. And it was about a 300-mile run on the road up here to Eureka. Now I'm going to go ahead and tune into the. Yeah, they'll be calling us maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we have to. Let's see if we have to refile. Vector, we'll just stay. No, our IFR is still good. So they're just leaving us alone. There's not a lot of traffic. We'll just follow. I will be IFR. I follow roads and rivers. IFR used to be I follow railroads. They're on the chart. So we can bring up our chart here so you can see more our arrival. That's going to be Garberville right there. There we go. And got to do that again now. So we want to go out a little bit and see our final approach. There's Fortuna, VOR, and right down here is where Eureka is. We're landing north of Arcata. Excuse me. The little Garberville Airport. And I can see all the way up to Eureka now. And we can pull this back. There we go. Let's see if we get anything that'll pop up here. Yeah, that's Garberville there. That's probably Fort Bragg right over there. There is a little airport at Shelter Cove out there. This is a real windy road going out there from Garberville. 20,000 feet. They should be telling us to come down. There we go.
Contact Oakland Center on 134.15.
There we go. We'll start bringing us down.
134.15 Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie. Goodbye. Oakland Center, Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie, flight level 200.
Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie, Oakland Center, radar contact. Continue to EBBLS.
Okay, that's where we turn over
Cessna 7
to.
Bravo Charlie, descend and maintain 14,000 feet.
Okay.
Descend and maintain 14,000 feet, Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie.
Okay. Down to 14. We'll go down about 2,700 feet a minute. And it's unwinding. Well, if we can do that a little better. Let's do that a little bit more. That'll get us down. So now we can see the north and the south fork of the Eel River. And, just a little mountain range right in there.
Oakland Center Airbus
separates
X-ray Yankee 650
separates
is
them.
at
You can see
9,800
Highway
feet,
101.
climbing 16,000 feet.
And we can look down at
Airbus Mike X-ray Yankee 650
Garberville.
Oakland
Town
Center
of Garberville is right on the top there.
radar contact.
And
Continue.
then just to the south here
Airbus
is a
650,
little area
you are 50
called
miles southeast. Climb and maintain 16,000 feet. Expect ILS runway tree 2 approach via Yeager transition. Cleared to Yeager.
there was a little town south of Garberville where they dam off the river
Climb and
and
maintain
make a
16,000
swimming hole.
feet. Expect
So
ILS runway tree 2 approach via
really
Yeager
nice.
transition. Cleared to Yeager Airbus 650.
Now let's see if we get looks a little hazy. Let's just see if we can clear it up a little bit here.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie contact center on 124.85. Good day.
Okay.
124.85 Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie. Goodbye.
So
Center Cessna
we're
527 Bravo Charlie,
down to
14,000 feet.
14.
Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie Center altimeter 29.9er 2 radar contact. Continue to EBBLS.
All right, we're right on schedule. And the north and the south fork, they go together down here, which is close to Ronerville
Cessna 7
and
Bravo Charlie
Fortuna.
descend and maintain 5,700 feet.
All right, 5,700.
Descend and maintain 5,700 feet, Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie.
There
Center
we
Airbus
go.
Mike X-ray Yankee 650 is passing 8,200 feet, climbing 16,000 feet. Airbus Mike X-ray Yankee 650 center altimeter 29.9er 2 radar contact.
5,700.
Continue to Yeager.
And we don't need to go down as fast, but pretty good. Let's go do the 3,000 feet a minute. That ought to do it. And we are not exceeding the structural limits of the aircraft. We used to have a red line. I don't know whether this is considered a red line, but we could get into that a little bit because we aren't in severe turbulence. Okay, we're starting to turn over. This is Ronerville Airport. Eel River, the combined Eel River goes into the Pacific right out there. Now we're looking up toward Humboldt Bay and Eureka, right in there. We're cutting over to a little airport up on the top called Neeland, K-N-E-E-L-A-N-D. It's a little escape airport in the summertime when you got a blanket of fog here, the coastal fog. The little guys that don't have instrument ratings, if they can't get in or if they want to go out, it's too foggy to get out the time they want to leave, they'll go ahead and park their airplane up on Neeland so they can get out early in the
Bravo
morning.
Charlie, you are tree 5 miles south. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect RNAV runway tree 2 approach via Yeager transition. Cleared to Yeager.
Okay, we're going to Yeager.
Maintain present present heading and altitude. Expect RNAV runway, tree 2 approach,
And they'll
8
drop
Jaeger
us
transition,
down
clear
some
to
more
Jaeger Cessna 7
altitudes.
Bravo Charlie.
There's the North Fork of the Eel River. And we can look out toward where we're going. And then they'll drop us down to 47, I think, is the next. So we should be slowing down more than this. We could put it on the get it down. Oh, we could be going 250. So we'll leave it right there. But we need to slow it down a little more as we go here. It's got 292 here, so we're under 12,000, so we should be down slower. So here we are. We're going across, and we're in good shape. We're in good shape. I like to look outside. So if you're up in front of the airplane, you get views like this. Whereas if you're a passenger, you don't get to see that. And then when we get going past Neyland, we'll be on the final approach course, and we can turn on the approach mode, and we'll intercept the glide slope. I can hear our auto throttle bringing the power up. We'll start rolling, and looking way out here, I can see the pin possibly there or there, which is for the Arcata Airport, which now they call it Redwood Empire, something like that. They keep changing the names on me. Okay, and we want to see if we are turning, or no, we're not on the final yet. We'll kind of get around here, and we'll see when we, here's the course coming in on our screen, and that's the final approach. We're on that, so this should light up, but maybe not. There it is. So that's an approach, and we want everything up here in the green, and then we'll go right by Neyland, and he'll call, and he'll give us a little lower altitude. We could stay at this altitude. We'd intercept the glide slope. It's a magenta diamond. Little diamond comes down right to there, and then it locks on to that, and that'll take us down to the end of the runway. So we'll be descending automatically to the runway. We'll get a little key here. They'll key and tell us what to do. Sometimes you can see just the outline of the diamond in white. Starts coming down, turns magenta when it gets to the bottom. Don't understand all that, but now we can start slowing down. Now we want to slow down, and we can start bringing in. We got to get down to 200 to bring in the flap. Oop. There we go. And we'll see our speed is 240. It's a little early for the flaps. And we'll just look at this with Eureka in the background. We'll go down to 4,700. 4,700, and we'll go ahead and click this. And we'll
Airbus 650,
go down
you are
1,000
14 miles
feet a minute.
southeast of Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor.
So we went past Neyland, but it would be like right at the top of the mountain right there. Let's see if it's right here. It could be right behind us. We're not landing there, so we don't care. Don't care.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie, did you copy?
Let's see, what did he say?
Descend and maintain 4,700 feet. Cessna 7
We're
Bravo
almost,
Charlie.
we're almost there.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie descend and maintain 3,700 feet.
Okay, 3,700.
Descend and maintain 3,700 feet. Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie.
So we go over here and down, and we see that our diamond is almost there. So we're going to just go ahead and wait for that to contact, and that'll start us down. So we don't have to touch anything. And you'll see that light up, the diamond change color. This will all turn green. No, it didn't do it. I don't know why it doesn't do that. So we'll take this down to 3,700.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie descend and maintain 3,200 feet.
3,200. And we'll do that at 1,000 feet a minute. Now we have to go a little faster. And we still have our approach on.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie, did you hear my last transmission?
That should have engaged. That's the first time it hasn't done that. But
descend and maintain 3,200 feet. Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie.
Flight simulator isn't perfect. Microsoft has done a great job here. This should come back up.
Bravo Charlie descend and maintain 2,300 feet.
Okay, 2,300, and everything's right on. And 2,300, and
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie, please acknowledge.
Terrain.
There we go.
Terrain.
We're doing good, but we have to acknowledge. You'll get us again.
Cessna 7 Bravo Charlie IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated.
That's good.
Squawk 1200.
That's good enough.
Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
So
Good day.
we need to. Oh, so we are locked on the glide slope at this point. See, it's all green up here. The GP, that's locked on. So normally, if they had a tower, we would be contacting, and we can go ahead and do that. We can contact at this point nearest airport, and that'll be California Redwood Coast, and the traffic, and we're landing on 32, and it's a full stop, and we're on final.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor traffic Cessna 527 Bravo Charlie is on final runway tree 2 to
So
land.
we need to turn the auto throttle off.
Terrain.
And we put flap and gear down.
Terrain.
And we do the auto throttle.
Auto throttle.
And okay, here we go. There we go on the tail. There we go, full flap. And get a little above here so you can see. Then we'll turn off the autopilot and just do this. And turn off the autopilot right there.
Autopilot.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
There we go. Flaps up, brakes. And the throttle quadrant that I have is rinky-dink. So I do have the capability but it's for thrust reverser, but it's rinky-dink. And the brakes is that's just a toggle switch. My rudder pedals are rinky-dink also. So here they normally, we don't have a tower, so we don't have to worry about ground control. So this is the Arcata, what I call the Arcata Airport. Over here, there's the little pin is showing Murray Field, which is 10 miles away. That's where we did the maintenance for the aircraft. But during the week, the airplane would stay up here.
Kilo Alpha Charlie Victor Traffic Airbus Mike X-Ray Yankee 650 is on base runway tree 2.
And when I got in, when I got in Friday night, I used to land at Murray Field, so I didn't have to ferry it down there. And the post office would pick up the 2,000 pounds of mail at Murray Field. And they liked that, and it was good. So we have somebody coming out here. So we'll show you how we go right through. It doesn't. It's almost like it isn't there. It went under. That wouldn't fit under the wing, but it goes under the wing. And then right here was an old World War II hangar that sat out against, actually where that building was the old World War II tower. It's a wooden structure. But we'll go ahead and park where we'll see where they want us to park here. There's more going on here than I can believe. So we'll park real close here to where I used to park. And I used to park north-south. There weren't any other airplanes right here when I was going in and out. There we go. There we go, and then I have a new way of turning it off. We go Shift Control E, Shift Control E, and that shuts down the engines. So we're all set. So the tower was right here, and then this we'll pretend was the World War II hangar, and not much was inside that. That was a wooden structure. The terminal is right there, and it's still right there. They do have service, airline service going in and out of here. Okay, there you are. Right over that way is McKinleyville. McKinleyville goes back in that direction. Thanks for riding along. Take care. Bye-bye.